Victory is ours.
Hello there and welcome to this hype video and discussion about the 2 vs 2 Anniversary Classic. I'm Matt and I'm here with Andy. Hello Andy.
Hey guys, how's it going?
So Andy, introduce yourself. Who are you?
So for those that don't know, I'm the community manager for Co on Relic. And yeah, very excited for this weekend's action. Going to be amazing. Been a whole lot of awesome games in the run up to this. And I think community's in for a real treat. Looking forward to it.
They are, and somebody else is in for a real treat. The winners of this tournament, the biggest cash pool tournament in Company of Heroes history. So big thanks to Sega and for funding and Relic for organising that. Just going to show you the post.
Oh, pleasure.
Thank you. Just showing the guys the post where you can find more information about that. It will be in the description of this YouTube video. But Andy and I have got a lot to discuss today because we're going to be having a look at the matches you'll get to watch this Saturday, starting at 12 PM GMT on twitch.tv/Relic Entertainment. You're going to be treated to some awesome matches.
Indeed. Yeah, there's a few corkers. Well, they're all of the first round games look very good in their own right. Is there one you're particularly looking forward to, eh?
Oh, I tell you what, that upper bracket match. So the casters for the first series of the day will be Tightrope and Momo for show, and they will be casting Loveness Refero versus Helping Hands Devem. That match is like a who's who in Company of Heroes tournament play this year. Especially from the GCS2 tournament, all those 4 guys were at the studio. They were themselves live, where Dan and I will be live from this Saturday. So it'll be kind of like cool to sit back and watch those guys play.
Absolutely. That's like a 1v1, 2v2 special.
Yes.
It's going to be good.
It is.
Who do you fancy coming out of that one?
Oh, you've got to say Helping Hands Devem because they've looked so promising. They did a really good job in that second qualification tournament, which I'll just try and bring up on the screen now. You know, was it not this weekend, the weekend before, I believe?
Yes, yeah.
So just bring
really well.
That up on the screen here. And you guys can see that Helping Hands Devem, they smashed their opposition. Did you catch any of those games, Andy?
I watched all of them. Well, actually, I missed the first round because it was the wee hours of the morning here. But yeah, I caught all the rest of their games. They look really good. The first game against Zara and Rutra, that was a viewer's game. That was amazing. Went on for like an hour and 15 minutes.
Yeah, something like that. It's this video here. It was absolutely ridiculous. Kudos to Momo for show for carrying that cast. I thought I did it with him, and he was so excited to watch the action. A lot of screaming involved as well. Awesome, yeah. And yeah, I think the viewers had a blast watching that one. Hopefully, we'll get to see plenty more games like it in the tournament to come. So yeah, that's a good series. Also on that side of the brackets, just to mention it now, you've also got Nagano Scotch versus Dazara and Rutra. What do we know about these teams?
Ooh, well, Nagano and Scotch, they're like the classic, the 2v2 perennial powerhouse, I guess. So, I mean, it's no secret that they'd be the favourites there, but then you've got to look at Zara and Rutra, who are the only team that last week managed to take a game off Helping Hands and Devem. So they do have the caliber to beat, the very, very best teams on paper in this bracket. So still could be a great series. Maybe they can pull the upset. It'll be great to see.
Maybe they could. A little bit of analysis. I never want to say this because I worry that it might affect things, but then that would be really big-headed of me. But I really think Nagano and Scotch are especially powerful on rails and metal. On that map, I just see them as absolutely unbeatable. So it'd be interesting to see if Zara and Rutra can do well in the coin toss and the vetoing process and pull them away from it. I'd love to see what they can do. But Zara and Rutra are good players. They've got a lot of tricks up their sleeve, so I think that could also be a good series. But yeah, you've got to say Nagano and Scotch for that one if you were going to predict, if you were going to. And then we've got the lower half of the bracket, Andy. God, there's a lot of interesting players there. A lot of good contenders.
There are indeed. Yeah, so the first game, Stu Kimbo, Brosras, Tarvik. That's a really interesting series. For me, that one looks very difficult to call. Stu and Kimbo, both really good players, but Brosras and Artavik, they've been playing 2v2 together for a long time, haven't they?
Yeah. Well, interestingly, I had a little sit-down interview with Kimbo earlier today, and he described himself as the most intelligent human of all time, and also the best player of all time, and the best person. Those three things. Now, I'm joking, of course, but Kimbo's a very interesting personality. Stuv is too. Brosras and Artavik are, legendary 2 versus 2 players. They like these long games. But one big compliment for Stuv and Kimbo, I would say, Andy, is that they have put the hours in.
They have.
If anybody deserves it on weight of practice alone, it should be them, I would say.
Well, I think that when the beginning of this tournament started out, like everyone knew Stuv and Kimbo were really good players, but they maybe weren't considered like a top 2v2 team. But by now, there's no doubt they've gelled and they've got some really good chemistry. They've taken some big scalps, and yeah, they could go all the way. I think they're one of the ones to watch. Everyone looks great on paper, but I think I guess Steve and Kimbo have really sort of come into their own in the last few qualifiers.
Big shout out to Helping Hands. Just currently brought his Twitch up momentarily. I'm sure he won't mind because he's actually streaming himself and Devem versus Stu and Kimbo right now.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's really exciting. You can catch that obviously on twitch.tv/Helping Hands for the 1% of you that don't know. And I've got to say it, Andy, Stu and Kimbo have been taking games off Hands and Devem. It's not been comfortable viewing for Helping Hands and Devem fans, that's for certain.
Yeah, totally. And that kind of I think shows that they've got what it takes to really go far, in my opinion, Steve and Kimbo. They're playing really well together.
And then we come on to the game that Dan and I will be casting. That is Captain Price and Prodigy, or Prodigy Leggy, versus Von Asten and Isildur. Now, the reason we've decided to cast this game, or I've put our hat in the ring, or whatever the phrase might be, is because I think it's interesting. It's controversial and it's heated. I love the fact that it's heated and there's a little bit of a rivalry there.
Bit of beef.
Exactly, and that's what you want. If you're pretending it's like a fight, it's we all watched Fury versus Wilder this weekend. I liked this idea of a pre-fight build-up, and these guys are going into the weigh-in and they're at each other. That excites me. And although it's it's a competitive rivalry, I like a little bit of heat to my
Your games.
My games. I wanted to say curry, but I couldn't say curry.
Well, this will be a very spicy one, I think.
It would indeed. It'd be a vindaloo of matches, that's for certain.
Yeah. I think this one's tough to call. What do you reckon, mate?
Oh, what do I reckon? Jesus. I would have to say, I'm sorry to say it to Isildur, my fellow countryman, and Von Asten, who always thinks I have a chip on my shoulder when casting his games because, to me, he's a very steady player, and Isildur is a little bit rusty. Von Asten, definitely top 5 player in the world, there's no doubting that. But Captain Price and Prodigy have these insane plays right now where they will just decimate you. If you get split up from your teammates, all of a sudden 4 Folks Grenadiers and 2 Stern Pioneers will appear from behind the trees in a huge gelatinous cohesive battle group, and there's nothing you can do. You can't retreat through them, you can't soft pedal away, you're dead, you're done for. And that'll happen between the 5th and the 10th minute of the game, this blob. And if you're not prepared for it, you're stuffed. And I'm trying to think in my mind what I would do if I was good at this game and I was playing in this tournament, which none of those two things exist. But if I was, I would need to stick with my teammate because I'd be so scared of this blob penetration play where they just go deep into your territories, Andy, and they surprise you with a very nasty surprise.
No, totally. I I think that kind of makes it quite exciting though. So people like to, and they like a good tactical control group to do Price and Prodigy. But I think that people underrate like how well they coordinate as a team, and they're both really good players. And I think they beat Von Asten and Isildur a while ago. It wasn't in this tournament; it was in the Commander preview tournament, and they looked really. That was a really good matchup between the two. So I think, yeah, I'm excited to see what they do. As you say, the craziness of some of their strats makes the games particularly interesting because something absolutely ludicrous can happen at almost any moment. And Von Asten and Isildur, like if they click and they're playing as well as they have done at some points in the past, then on paper they should maybe be favoured to win that. But Price and Prodigy have been one of the best teams in this tournament so far, without a doubt. So
certainly, and I'm really happy for them because due to past tournament controversies, they possibly weren't allowed the time to shine. Now, given that stage, they seem to have really rose to the occasion, and they're 2 versus 2 specialists, and they're finally getting a chance to really show what they can do. They're both countrymen from Poland, and that's kind of cool because Poland's been a little bit underrepresented. Since Barton used to be the big name playing in the Sunday Night Fights tournaments back in the day. So it's kind of cool. I see a few cool angles from there, and I'm interested to see what they can do. I was just highlighting who they beat in the first qualification tournament. Yeah, it's they lost to Nagano and Scotch finally, but they beat Helping Hands Dev-Em and Loveness Refuro on the way, so that's pretty impressive stuff. Pretty
big
impressive.
Names.
Indeed. So there's a little bit of discussion about the games that you'll be seeing on Saturday. What we want to see from you guys is your own discussion, so go to whichever forum you found this on, or go to the comments of this YouTube video perhaps, and tell us who you think's going to do it. Who do you think's going to get through to the semi-finals? That'll be played on the Saturday. So the run schedule is there's going to be 2 quarter-final best-of-3s, and then 2 best-of-5 finals on the Saturday, so you're going to not be at a loss for entertainment, hopefully. And then
There's going to be a lot of good games.
A lot of good games. It's pretty cool that you've organised this to cast from the studio, so thanks for that, Andy. That's much appreciated.
No, looking forward to it. Our pleasure.
So we'll be able to offer you the best quality possible from 80Hz Studios. That's roughly from when we take over from Tightrope and Momo around 2 o'clock. And then on the Sunday, you've got the best of 5 bronze match or 3rd place playoff, and then the grand final. And just to reiterate the kind of money involved, because I know it's kind of usually in tournaments it's about the pride and prestige, but this tournament actually has a little bit of an esports edge to it, which is cool. So, I mean, just look at this money on display. For the first place team, it's $10,000 split, so $5,000 each. That's a lot of money, Andy.
It's not to be sniffed at, that's for sure.
It's not to be sniffed at. What would you do with that kind of stuff? Buy yourself a new computer, maybe? Or 5?
That would definitely be one of the things I'd do with that. Yeah, I need an upgrade. But yeah, that is major money for a KOTU tournament. So I think it's coming out the best in all of these guys. It's going to be very interesting to see. And then even for the 2nd place team and the 3rd place playoff, the money's still really good there too, so it's gonna create some high drama, hopefully.
Definitely. So if the guys tune in on the Sunday, I hope most people are probably going to watch all of it, because let's face it, co-fans are really excited and passionate about what they watch and what they love. But we're going to have a lot of other people watching this weekend. Maybe you could talk a little bit more about that, Andy.
For sure. So with Sega, we've arranged to have the tournament broadcast on Steam simultaneously. So that'll be we'll be getting extra viewers tuning in to see the best in our community from there. That'll be great. And at the same time, we'll also have, not for the entirety of the tournament, but a couple of specific times, I guess. We've got Twitch front page, so that'll be great. We'll get some extra viewership from there as well. So that's going to be fantastic, and just sort of putting a spotlight on the scene and these great games that are headed our way on Saturday, Sunday.
Cool. I believe, I mean, maybe you're not in a position to say it, but there's other stuff that might possibly happen as well around the weekend. Nothing big, but there's small things that just keep people to keep an eye out on that I'm sure you may announce or may not. I don't know. But yeah, there's excitement in the air, and there's already announced excitement in the air, Andy, because you are overseeing a few patches that are on the way, I believe.
Ooh, yeah, there's been a lot of fantastic work. I mean, by the community balance team, who've just put in serious hours over the last few months to bring us the Commander revamp. So major props to them, but also just the community at whole. We've kind of done this patch a bit differently and soliciting feedback openly, and you know, in the forums, speaking to people and reading comments, which has kind of informed the direction of much of the update, which is really cool. And then yes, there's also the USF changes, which we've been trialing recently as well. So there's a lot to look forward to. That will be keeping the game nice and fresh for everyone, hopefully come the week following the tournament.
So yeah, everybody just check out Relic's blog page, because that's where all their best information goes. They've got the USF revamp coming, the Commander revamp coming, balance changes that have been the community have been trying to get into it as well, and Relic have been very polite in allowing bits and bobs to get through as part of the remit. So that's very nice of them. Scope TM. So it's a really exciting time to be a co-fan. Not only have you got a huge ass tournament, if you're a casual guy that doesn't care about competitive, you've got actual changes to the game happening 5 years in, and I suppose it's a great chance because it is the 5th anniversary. Well, it was 3 months ago. It's the 5th year of Company Heroes 2. That's for certain. So it's a cool time. And thanks to Andy for being the CM during this period, and thanks to all the community guys for all the hard work. And we'll see you this Saturday, 12 PM GMT. Don't miss it.
Cheers, mate, and enjoy the weekend, everyone.
Victory is ours.